DM, let them know what we doing. Let them know that we growing, and hopefully they about that growth mission. If not about this growth mission, then they ain't gonna be here no way, cause they not on the same wave. They not vibrating at the same rate as us. So come on through again. Tell a friend. Make it do what it do. This is the Floating Yogis Book Club. We almost there, inviting the folk. Almost done. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. All right.
All right, I just seasoned up and now I'm about to share my tent. Here we go, baby.
All right, there we go. Now we gave everyone a little bit of time to come on and sit down and get comfortable. My name is Derek. I'm the Floating Yogi, and this is Floating Yogi's Book Club, where we talk about concepts. We talk about urban yogic wellness and education. Oh my goodness, is that what we're doing? Yes, that is exactly what we're doing. Welcome, Shelly. Welcome to join the Zoom room too. You already got the link. You can slide on in that thing and get you hooked up. So this is brought to you by UE, Urban Yogic Wellness and Education, restructuring health and wellness in the community, bringing the power of healing and growth back to the individual's hands. This is also brought to you by No Commercials International, No Commercials, where you can check out our single live from Costa Rica, and that could be your daily meditation, your way to get your mind right. You can join me in Costa Rica, at least in our mind's eye. And then that could set the day for you. Then once you finish, hop on my stories, meditate, vote, share, boom. Let other people know we on this growth mission. Other people gonna come through. We gonna keep growing, keep flowing, and that will give you an entry into the monthly giveaway. This month's monthly giveaway, I'll be giving out a virtual private session. What? I didn't say that. I did say that. So I got virtual private sessions coming up. I am very limited on my private sessions. I do not like to do private sessions unless you've been flown with a whole bunch of classes. But guess what? We are going to grow, because it's going to get time to create that foundation, to see what you do. I could take a horse to water, but I can't make it drink it. The knowledge is here. You see these books? You see this paper? It's not just paper. It is knowledge that we will bask ourselves in. Like that. Just straight to the brain. Just Anyway, so that's what we got going on. I'd also like to thank Dolly Dearest. She got us rocking with the drip, with the jewelry, with the stones to keep us at the right vibratory pace. You can also check her out at the Pink Moon meditation that's happening on the 16th. There is also Mono's Detox. You got the sea moss serums, elixirs, the smoothies, everything you need. You notice how that was felt like I was in slavery. And he got those there for you. I'd also like to let you know about Sukha Center. We are there. Yes, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, creating our own practice, something that we could take into life with us, through life. We can go anywhere onto a different continent and bring this practice, and we can find growth with other people, not just myself. Because if you only have something that works with one person, it's not that universal. I'm just saying. Dropping that there. What else are we talking about today? I feel like I went through all of them. Nope. Buddha a blessing. You see this gong? You hear these Marines? Oh yes. You can get them. They're on the website, floatingyogi.com. You can check them out. We got bowls galore, chakra bowls. We have like 2 different sets of chakra bowls, handmade, machine-made joints. We got the Marines. We got gongs. We got bells of different notes. Like, yo, we can get you right with whatever you're looking for. It's here for you. Just check out the website. All right. Now all of that's out the way. What were we doing? Last week we were going through the 3 different books that we're picking out for next month, for the next book that we're going to read. So our interim book has been this fat ass Bible of a book, Osho's Book of Secrets, and some of the runner-ups, the questions, which one are we going to dive deep into today? We got those up. We got Flow, which talks about the state of flow. through different exercises, experiences, and different mindsets. State of flow. You can be a dancer, you can be a singer, you can be a writer, you can be a fucking cryptocurrency miner. Whatever it is you do, there is a state of flow in it. This book will break it down for you. Then we talked about Eastern Body, Western Mind. Eastern Body, Western Mind talks about the chakras, and it takes us through each one. We went through the different chakras on Sunday, and then like again on like another day. I think I went live randomly. If you wasn't with it, get with it. Come on now, don't slip. Let's get it. That's a great one. Talks about the psychology of the chakras. So this is a little bit more of the feels, a little bit more of the energy. There is also another one, the name is escaping me, but it is more so the science of the chakras. So there's a little bit more quantitative data in there, like this correlates that, this machine measures this, which could be compared to that, blah, blah, blah. These are nadis or energy pathways. These are also blood vessels or the lymphatic system or other things that translate through that area. And we just call the intersection point a chakra. So maybe that's it. That's in this book. Last but not least, this one is in the lead, the Divine Matrix. The Divine Matrix talks about bridging time, space, miracles, and belief through the laws of attraction and the law of vibration. One comes before the other. Drop in the chat which one you think is first, attraction or vibration. But just drop it in there. You don't even have to say vibration. You don't think it's vibration? If you on the social media, go and drop it in the chat too. We see. I gotta check this junk. Hey, vibration, 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 vibration. All right. So those are the ones that we going through. Those are the ones that we're looking at now. Let me go and minimize this a little bit more, and then I can slide this to the side. Oh, you ain't showing me the cheesy? Oh yeah, you are. There we go. Cheesy, believe me. Oh, I'm just getting this video a little bit. Oh, it's not doing what I wanted to. We got to slide you down. Then you gonna chill there. All right. This talks about the law of attraction, the law of vibration, blah, 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 some fun things. So today I wanted to speak about the mind. So I found some some interesting facts, a good starting point within this Bible of a book. No, we're not doing ordinary love and the love of a Buddha. We've already done that. There was a few things I wanted to talk about, like the 4 dimensions of the mind. However, this kind of sets a good basis for us to talk about different aspects, not just these 4 compartments of the mind. So, yeah, vibration. Yeah, y'all right. I was just waiting for all of them to come in. Law of vibration is the predecessor to the law of attraction. You got to vibrate with it. You have to resonate with it before you can pull it to you. Because otherwise, it's like, nah, I don't know who you. I don't do that. You do that. I'm over here. But if we do the same thing, then it's like, hey, let's get it. So, moving forward. I'll start here. For Tantra, man himself is the disease. It is not that your mind is disturbed, rather your mind is the disturbance. It is not that you are tense within, but rather you are the tension. And if you think about this earlier, we were talking in previous episodes and classes, we were talking about first we have to give things our attention. After we give it enough of our attention, it seeps into our awareness. So this is stating that we are that tension. We are that process that's happened. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me keep reading. Understand the distinction clearly. If the mind is ill, then the illness can be treated. But if the mind itself is if the mind is ill, then the illness can be treated. But if the mind itself is the illness, then the illness cannot be treated. It can be transcended, but it cannot be treated, because that is what it is, right? We're not going to change what it is. We're going to allow it to be what it is. We have to transcend it. And I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me keep reading. That makes a basic difference between Western psychology and Eastern tantric yogic philosophy. That is the difference between Eastern Tantra and yoga and Western psychology. Western psychology thinks that the mind can be healthy. The mind as it is can be treated and helped, because for Western thinking, there is no transcendence. There is nothing beyond the mind. Transcendence is possible only if there is something beyond, so that you can live in your present state and move further. I like that. Transcendence is only possible if there is something beyond, so that you can live in your present state and move further. This correlates back to, like how I said, whenever you establish a relationship, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, sexual, romantic, business, friendship, whatever type of relationship that is established, what are you there for? Is it a temporary feeling, or are you trying to accomplish something? Is it a long-term goal that you all are working and building towards? Whatever it may be, because then we aren't stuck in those temporary feelings. That present moment, we're able to transition through it. Because again, I dropped this little gem saying that we are the process, that transition, the intermediary, the intermediate, however you want to see it, we are that transition. But if there is no beyond, the mind is the end, then transcendence is possible. Boom, right? So, I like to say, now, if you think that you are just a body, then you cannot transcend your body. Because who will transcend, and to where will you transcend? If you are simply the body, then you cannot go beyond the body. If you can go beyond the body, that means that you are not simply the body, but something plus. That plus becomes the dimension that we move into. So I like to say a nice summary, that you can only transcend what you can identify with. Because if you don't identify with it, your mind doesn't see it. It doesn't exist. Like something that doesn't have a name. How do you speak about it? It just becomes a little bit challenging. It's doable, but it just becomes a little challenging. All right. Similarly, and this also falls back when we were talking about, are we the body? Are we more than the body? And how do we create that existential experience so we can transcend, so we can go from being just the body to more than the body? We can have that experience to know that there's another aspect of ourselves that is just beyond this Anandamaya kosha. I ain't messing up this time, so everybody was rocking with me on Sunday. The Anandamaya and the Anandamaya kosha, the Anandamaya kosha, the physical sheath made up of our food. I ain't jacking up this time. So we can treat the okay. There is then no transcendence is possible. Then we can treat the individual dis-ease. Someone is mentally ill, we can treat the illness. We will not touch the mind, but we will treat the illness and make the mind normal. And no one will think about whether the normal mind itself is healthy or not. Whether the normal mind is healthy or not. Look around in society, at work, while you're walking down the street, at the amount of people you see. And then sit there and look at the ones that you're like, nah, they're making totally rational movements. I completely understand where they're coming from and why they're doing what they're doing. They are completely normal. I'll wait. It's not the masses. Or the masses is just fucked up to begin with. How you want to see it. How you want to see it. I want to be abnormal. Hey, come on. See, Tony, you be with the shits. You be with the shits. All right, let me speed up a little bit. Bye. All right, the normal mind is just a skeptical mind. Freud says that as everyone is, we can only bring a diseased mind to normality. But whether everyone is healthy or not, that question cannot be raised. We take it for granted that the collective mind, the average mind, is okay. So whenever we go beyond that average mind, moves somewhere else, he has to be brought back and readjusted. Thus, the whole Western psychology has been an effort towards readjustment. Readjustment to the ordinary mind, the average mind. In this sense, there are thinkers, particularly one very intelligent thinker, Joffrey, who said that genius is diseased because genius is abnormal. Just like you were saying, Tony, genius is abnormal, or else it wouldn't be a genius. You'd be normal, right? There's differences. So a genius is a dis-ease. If normality is health, then but a genius is not normal. He is in a certain way mad. His madness may be useful, so we allow him to live. An Einstein or a Van Gogh or an Ezra Pound, poets, painters, scientists, mystics, they're all mad. But their madness is allowed for two reasons. Either their madness is harmless or their madness is utilitarian. Through their madness, they contribute something which normal minds cannot contribute. Because they are mad, they have moved to one extreme, and they can be seen, and they can see certain things that normal minds can't see. So it allows them, so we allow these madmen and make them like Nobel laureates. But they're ill. We're all ill, right? Even the geniuses. So if normality is the criterion in which the standard of health, then everyone who is normal is also ill. So if we're judging things by like, oh, it has to be normal, because again, we said look around. Majority of the motherfuckers is fucked up on the street. Not just in the street, the majority of people we interact, we can walk by. Unless you are in a, I know the ones on Zoom, at least the ones in DC, we know what it's like in these streets. I'm just saying, there was a whole dead man in a nightclub partying. DC got some wild stuff going on. I'm just saying, I ain't gonna touch it, we ain't gonna dive deep into it, but you know, I just gotta put that out there. It's some wild shit on these streets. And the club was packed. I just saw that and been like, yo, is this man like, is he okay up there? Like, what's going on? I gotta go. This don't smell right. Like, he got the skinny jeans on, they got the daggone Nikes on him. I was like, how did you get these skinny jeans with rigor mortis, yo? Yo, alright, let me get off of that. Let me get off of it.
Well, okay, but you can see
all the weekend at Bernie's and nigga?
yeah.
Drop dead Fred type shit. You just start dancing with the music.
We have seen other videos from other places, but never close to home, like right here.
Never Bliss nightclub right down the street, north fucking east.
Okay, we're gonna be at Bliss nightclub with that man and skinny chick. Yo, but you can see okay, in that video you can see the crowd and you see some people that's partying, and then you can see some people that's just standing there with their faces, and that's why when we were talking about this, it's making me think, you know,
Yo.
There, but because they probably loved him, but it was like, this is some crazy shit right
This
now.
is some crazy shit. So just to state, everybody's a little bit off, a little bit left of center, off of center. I ain't gonna say which direction. There's some stuff I want to skip in through here. He just reiterates some of these things. Okay, here we go. Boom. The question: why call mind itself the disease? We will have to approach it from a different dimension. Then it will be easy for us. The body is death. For the Eastern approach, the body is death. In the East, India, right? The body is death. So you cannot create a perfectly healthy body. Otherwise, it would not die. I'm gonna let you think about that for a second. We cannot create a perfectly healthy body, because if we could, then the body would not die. You can create a certain balance, but the body as such, because it is going to die, is prone to be ill. So health can only be a relative thing. The body cannot be perfectly healthy. It cannot be. So this goes into like, what is our definition of health for us? This goes physically, mentally, and emotionally. Are we expressing ourselves? Are we receiving the feedback from how we're expressing ourselves and making adjustments? How is our physical body? Do we stay in one position? Do we move? Do we allow those toxins, those ama, to flow or through and out? And mentally, are we meditating? Are we closing the apps that are playing in the background of our mind space, distracting us from everything that we're focusing on and doing? Are we closing them? Are we meditating? So it's not about having perfect health. It's about finding your space, your state of homeostasis. Homeostasis is like, nah, I'm working good. I'm able to retain some energy, save so I can have some for later. I'm not overexerting myself in this current moment. I got the reserves and I'm good now. Like homeostasis, you ready to flow. And you have this transition, energy going out and energy coming back in. It's not just a one-way street. So, thanks for the hearts, for the loves. I see you. Okay, so this is slightly off. Public health does have a definition of health that kind of plays into it, but it doesn't really touch it. But I'm gonna say this, and then what I just said is gonna make a little more sense. That is why medical science has no standard and no definition of what health is. They can define disease, and they define a particular disease, but they cannot define what health is. Or at the most, they can only define negatively that when a person is not ill, not particularly ill, he is healthy. But to define health in a negative way looks absurd, because then disease becomes the primary thing in which we define health. Disease is the primary way we define health, not us being able to go through our normal flow of things. We're looking for the negative, which is that negative bias that we have as humans. But health cannot be defined, because really the body can never be really healthy. Every moment the body is only in a relative balance, because death is progressing with life. You are dying also. You are not simply alive. You are dying simultaneously. So it goes on a little bit more about death. Blah, blah, blah. The day you were born, you started dying. We can skip through that. It is the same as the mind. Boom, here we go. It is the same with the mind. The mind cannot be really healthy, whole, because the very existence of the mind is such that it is bound to remain diseased, ill at ease, tense, anxious, and anxiety. The very nature of the mind is such. So we will have to understand this nature. Remember when we were talking in the beginning and he said that we are that tension? We are that process. So we just have to realize how to find that ease while we're going through these processes. Those sun salutations are going to help you do it, because you'll realize you start off all stiff and tin man-y or tin woman-y, and then as you start doing them over the weeks, over the months, your body just starts to open up. You start to flow through the poses. It's like, oh, right foot, warrior one, bong, and chaturanga, whoosh, up dog. It starts to feel like a flow. You can really feel the wave. But we are that tension, that process. That's going to help you get into it. I'm going to divert back. 3 things. 1, mind is a link between the body and the non-body, which is within you. Say it again. Mind is a link between the body and the non-body, which is within you. It is a link between the material and the non-material within you. It is one of the most mysterious bridges. It bridges 2 quite contradictory things, matter and spirit. That's what the mind does, right? If you can, conceive the paradox. Usually, you make a bridge over a river where both the banks are material. In this case, mind is the bridge between one bank, which is material, and the other, which is non-material. Between the visible and the invisible, between the dying and the non-dying, between life and death, between body and spirit, or whatsoever you name these 2 banks, because mind bridges such contradictory things, it is bound to remain tense. It cannot be at ease. So what do we do if the mind is unable to be at ease? How can we get around these peculiar situations? It's always moving from one visible to the invisible, from the invisible to the visible. Every moment the mind is in deep tension. Oh, how do we do it? We stop giving our attention to it. We tune out like a radio frequency. Just change the channel. The more you do those SIF meditations, what is this more of the foundational work that I be talking about? That just seems so easy, but then when it comes down to it, it's like, oh, I don't know, it's so challenging. What? That SIF meditation that's gonna help us get there? Damn straight it will. Rock with it. Okay, every moment the mind is in deep tension and has to bridge 2 things that cannot be bridged. That is the tension. That is the anxiety. You are every moment in anxiety. I'm not talking about your financial anxiety or other such anxieties. Those are boundary anxieties, frame anxieties. The real anxiety is not that. The real anxiety is that of the Buddha. You are also in that anxiety, but you are so much burdened with your own day-to-day anxieties, you cannot discover your basic anxiety. Once you find your basic anxiety, you will become religious. Religion is a concern for the basic anxiety. Buddha became anxious in a different way. He was not worried about finance. He was not worried about a new occupation. Hold up, did I skip a page? Yes, I did. He's not worried about a beautiful wife. He's not worried about anything. There was no worry. Ordinary worries were not there. He was secure, safe. What? That sounds like a root chakra. And the son of a great king, husband to a very beautiful wife, and everything was available. The moment he desired anything, he would get it. All that was possible for him. But suddenly he became anxiety ridden. And that anxiety was a basic anxiety, a primary anxiety. He saw a dead man being carried away. And he asked the chariot driver what had happened to this man. The driver said, "This man is dead now. He has died." This was Buddha's first encounter with death, so he asked immediately, "Is everyone prone to death? Am I also going to die?" Look at the question. You may not have asked it. You may have asked, who has died? Why has he died? Or you might have said that he looks too young and this is not in the age to die. Those anxieties are not basic. Those are not concerned with you. You may have felt sympathetic, you may have felt sad, but still, that is just the circumference. And you will have forgotten within a few moments. The real one is, am I going to die? That was the real anxiety. And that's correlated to death, just in general. Like, the fear of it, the thought about it, the longer we stay in the process of mulling it over. He goes a little bit deeper into that, but I'm gonna skip through some of them. Yeah, we already know about that. Yes. Secondly, the mind is a process. This is where, what? Did I say that? Oh, I did. The mind is a process, not a thing. I'm gonna say it again. The mind is a process, not a thing. Don't picture it in your head as that brain that you see. It is a process. I'm going to go forward. The word mind is a false notion. When we say mind, it appears as if there's something like a mind within you. There is nothing. Mind is not a thing. Mind is a process. So it is better to call it mining and not mind. We have a Sanskrit word called chitas, which means mining. Not mind, but mining, a process. And that takes us to boom, the next part. So there's these 4 dimensions of the mind, right? And chitta is one of them, chitas. So we'll start. We got manas, which is memory. We have ahankara, which is identity. We have buddhi, which is intellect. And we have chitta, which we don't have an American word for. However, we can call it flow, optimal experience, right? So, this is where it starts. We have this identity. We can call ourselves like, maybe we call ourselves a yoga instructor. So then yoga terminology has been downloaded through the matrix into my brain. Sanskrit words, ekam, dve, trini, Sanskrit, stuff like that, right? It's downloaded in. Hold on 1 second. Those are downloaded in because I identify. Like I mentioned before, 2 pages ago, you can't transcend beyond what you identify. You can only transcend beyond what you identify with. So these would be the things. You can be like an electrician. You can be a plumber. You can be a yoga instructor. All of these things, all of these people walk into a room and see a different world. An electrician walks into a room and sees the electrical circuit, sees the plug, sees the outlets, which way it's going to run through the walls. They're in there, but in their head, in their mind space, they're in a whole different world. Same with a plumber. A plumber comes in, sees where the sinks are, sees where the toilets are, sees where the washer and dryer is. How could they adjust these pipes through there? They're in a whole different world. These are their identities. And this is the lens that they see the world through. So that would be our identity. Then we have our intellect. So our identities there, like I mentioned, yoga instructor, plumber, fucking Uber driver, what the hell else, whatever. Your identity's here. And then intellect kind of swirls around it. And intellect is like the knowledge that you acquire. That could be the vocabulary. That can be the doctrines that you're learning. That can be the experiences that you had and you picked up a little bit and you're like, oh no, this wasn't in a book, but I learned this through experience, through existential experience. Yes, this is it. So that helps to sharpen your knife. Let's look at intellect as a knife. Shing, shing, shing. Da, 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 da. As we learn more, we sharpen that knife. As we have our identity, how can I frame this? I normally do it another way. I want to try something different this time. So our identity would be like, let's say we're a 5-year-old. We're going to use a knife kind of shaky, right? I wouldn't even really give a 5-year-old a knife to cut stuff for real. I don't think so. We'll see when Junior gets there. But right now, that's what I say.
Butter knife on hot dogs. That's it.
Butter knife on hot dogs. See?
Hot dogs or pancakes.
Or pancakes. But thank you. I was about to say, she ain't there yet, but I don't think I'm going to give her a knife. However, a 5-year-old with a knife, let's assume it's a sharp knife. It's going to be a little rough. It's going to be a little dangerous. The cuts might not be pristine and clean how you want it. But let's say you give that same knife with that same knowledge, that same intellect, that same sharpness to a surgeon. It's going to be a more steady hand. There's a different identity behind it. So the identity, the intellect is the knife that we use, and the identity is the hand that holds it. Right? So what do you identify with? We have different identities on the form of like what we socially use to talk about things, like it could be your profession or your career or what you're doing, but we also have like identities within our family. We have identities within our communities. We have more identities than just what your profession is. What do you identify with? It could be an emotion. You could say, I am scared. You can be so much more than scared. But if that's how you see it, if that's what you identify with, the intellect will go around it. So we got ahankara, we have identity, we have intellect, the buddhi. I just seen an orb. Hey, I'm trying to tell you, I don't know what's happening, but I'm with the shits. Maybe they're gonna kick me off IG soon because they don't like the content. That's usually what happens. Anyway, moving forward. So we have identity, we have intellect, then there is manas. There's memory, there's like 8 different types of memory. It's really 16 dimensions, it's really 16 aspects of the mind, but we can condense them to 4 and just throw them all into memory. We have like genetic memory, ancestral memory, we have collective memory, conscious memory, unconscious memory, articulate memory, inarticulate memory, things that you've seen or experienced or have had a process with, but you're not able to, words don't express it. Just like this yoga practice, when I be telling y'all, come on to the Mysore room, go on get your sun salutations in, start your practice. All I can do is just say the basis, but until you do it and have that experience for yourself, I'm still here waiting. The water's still here. It ain't going nowhere. Hopefully you don't die of thirst with water at your feet. Moving forward. Woo! So I'm going to say that one again. The mind is a process, not a thing. Mind is not a thing. It is a process. The word mind is a false notion. When we say mind, it appears as if there is something like a mind within you. There is nothing. Mind is not a thing. Mind is a process. So it's better to call it mining, not mind. We have a word in Sanskrit called chitta, which means mining. Again, this is a horrible, really rough estimate, and explanation. Not mind, but mining, a process. Chitta is the last. I want to give one example of memory because I did skip over that. Another example of genetic and ancestral. There's cosmic memory as well. There's a whole bunch of us. What energy do you resonate with? But you might not know what your great-great-great-great-great-grandma's nose looks like, but it could be sitting on your face. You didn't have to think to create it in that shape or to be like that. You didn't have to use conscious action, but there was an unconscious imprint which created it. those are the different types of memory. Not all things just stored in the brain. By thinking that things that are stored in the brain is the only form of memory we have, then that takes us completely out of muscle memory. You can do something over and over and create that muscle memory. And there is magic from that. That's what we're doing with the sun salutations. We're growing from the feeling moving forward. We're changing the feeling and our experience with it on a small, subtle plane. So then when we take it out into the world in a larger experience, it's like, oh, no. I know how to readjust to get back in track or not let certain things rile me up. And Chitta, like I mentioned, I like to look at it as optimal experience of flow state. That's being in like a dancer freestyling, getting it. Same with a writer, same with a spoken word, a rapper, a singer, whatever it is, skateboarder, sports. There's so many different ways to find our flow and create flow, which is again why those sun salutations are so phenomenal. They get us in that state of chittas, in that state of conscious direction of our life. And not just the life, but the life in the present moment. So you're aware of it while it's happening, and you still have that awareness and that goal of where we're going and growing to. Right? Rocking, we riding, we vibing. A process can never be silent. A process will always be tense. A process means a turmoil. The mind is always moving from the past to the future. The past goes on being a burden on it, so then it has to move into the future. This constant movement creates another tension within you. If you become too conscious of it, you may go mad. Facts. I'm going to let him speak before I add mine. So that is why we are always engaged with something other than something or another. We don't want to be unoccupied. If you are unoccupied, then you will become conscious of the inner process of the inner minding, and that will give you a very strange and peculiar tensions. I like how he said strange and peculiar tensions. He about to go into it. Ooh. So everyone wants to be occupied in some way. If there's nothing else to do, one goes on reading the same newspaper again and again. Why? Why can you not sit silently? Is it difficult? Because if you sit silently, you become aware of the total tense process within. I'll keep reading. He talks on it here. So everyone is in search of escapes. Alcohol can give you that. You can be unconscious. Sex can give you that. For a moment, you can forget yourself completely. Television can give you that. Music can give you that. Anything where you can forget yourself and become occupied so much that for a time being, you are as if you are not. This constant escaping from oneself is really because of the process of mining. If you are unoccupied, and occupiedness means meditation, if you are totally unoccupied, you will become aware of your inner process, and the mind is the basic process within. So that is why so many people come to me and say, I cannot meditate, but they have to start, but when they start meditating, they become more tense. They say, we were not so tense before, and now we're worried. We're more worried than before. Ordinarily, the whole day, we are not so worried so much. But when we sit down quietly and start meditating, thoughts rush upon us. They crowd us in. That is something new. So they think that is something new. So they think it is because of meditation that thoughts are crowding them. It is not because of meditation. Thoughts are crowding you at every moment of your existence. Those sifts, sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts that swirl around us throughout the day. Thoughts are crowding you every moment of your existence, but you are so occupied outwardly, you cannot be conscious of it. Whenever you sit down, you become conscious. You become conscious of something that you have been escaping constantly. Mind mining is a process, and a process is an effort. Energy is wasted in it, dissipated in it. It is necessary. It is needed for life. It is a part of the struggle for survival. It is a weapon, and one of the most violent weapons, just because it's nature. It's a survival mechanism to keep us here. He goes on to talk about it. But if we didn't think how we think, then we wouldn't be able to conquer other things that would have killed us. This world is savage. Like, if you go outside and look, animals aren't just wild, randomly killing everything around them, but they savage. they savage with it. They're like, oh, okay, no, I am gonna kill you. Oh, your babies are dead? Oh, that's tomorrow's dinner. Thank you, I appreciate it. But we as humans, we created this whole...
does not exist.
Yeah, morality is a construct that we have created with our ill minds and then projected that on the rest of reality. Just saying. Back to where we were in the book. Let's see. And I like the fact that it said mind mining is a process, and the process is effort. Energy is wasted on it. And this is another correlation between those yamas and niyamas that we've talked about before, those 8 limbs of yoga that show us where we're unnecessarily throwing energy out and ways that we're throwing energy out that is bringing back the energy that we don't necessarily want to receive. We're trying to go in a different direction. It's going to help us. Don't lie, don't steal, manage your sexual energy, redirect it, be clean, use your spiritual, use your energy, your fiery energy to create that tapas, that heat within the body, to purify internally, externally, push yourself, challenge yourself, be uncomfortable. Because what are we doing in yoga? Creating superficial, stressful situations to see how we deal with it. So then when the world comes at us and smacks us, we like, psh, missed me with the bullshit. Okay, moving forward. We almost done. No, that's a lie. No, we are almost done. Yeah. Hey, we started a little late, but we still vibing. Okay, thirdly, mind is created from within. When you are born, you just have the capacity for mind, but no mind. Just a possibility, a potentiality. So if a child is brought up without society, the child will grow. He will have a body, but not a mind. He will not be able to speak any language. He will not be able to think any concepts. He will likely be any animal. And this is hitting home for me because watching Jumi, I'm seeing this, and I'm seeing her mind start to develop. Like, from not responding to her name to responding to her name, from not playing with external things like toys to now shaking a toy and then seeing how she reacts, how long she wants to play with it before she gets distracted and goes to another one. Does she remember that toy is still there, or did she already go to the next one and completely forget about it? Sometimes she be forgetting, sometimes she don't. I'm just watching the process and seeing how she's grown. It's fucking fantastic, yo. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if a child is brought up without a society, blah, 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 blah. He will not be able to speak any language, blah, 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 blah. He will be like any animal, blah, 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 blah. Society trains your capacity into an actuality. It gives you a mind. It takes a village to raise a child. That is why in Hindu it has a certain mind, and a Mohammedan has a different mind. Both are men, but their minds are different. A Christian has a different mind. These minds are different because the different societies have cultivated them with different purposes and different goals. He goes in a little bit more about the Hindu, the Marxist stuff, blah, blah, blah. But it's just talking about the difference between them and how their minds are different because of the routines that they do and the rituals that they do and how they've been told to perceive through those different texts that they read, right? That's why if you haven't read the Bhagavad Gita, that's and you're interested in like spiritual texts or like religious texts or whatever you want to call it, the Bhagavad Gita is an interesting one. He pits man against God and humanity, and you can see the internal struggles that are happening and going on. And it puts you, if you embody it in that way, like you are Arjuna going through it, then it puts you into a perspective about, like, you know, make you think about things that you normally wouldn't think of. When is it right to defy God? Is it right? How do you define which God is to you, what you want to do, even when you are conflicted with the view? It's some fiery stuff. It's a long ass book. We're not gonna read it here, but it's a long ass book. We might get some excerpts because it does have some great, like, thought-provoking stuff. Okay. Here we go. Why am I making you aware of this fact? Because life changes every moment and the mind belongs to the past. Mind is always old and life is always new. There is bound to be tension and conflict. A situation arises, you fall in love with a woman, and you have a Hindu mind, and the woman is Mohammedan. Now there will be a conflict. Now there's going to be much anguish and unnecessarily. The woman is a Mohammedan, and the life has brought you to a situation where you fell in love with her. Now life gives you a new phenomenon. The mind does not know how to deal with it. There is no know-how, so there will be conflict. That is why in a very changing world, people become uprooted. Their lives become anxious. This was not in the past ages. Man was more silent, so not in the past ages. Man was more silent, not so really. But he appeared more silent because the state of affairs around him was so static that the mind was not in so much conflict. Now everything is changing so fast, and the mind cannot change so fast. Mind clings to the past, and everything changes every moment. I like to look at this as the shift and speed up in technology and communications. Now we're hearing about things that happened like last night, that night while it happened, the morning after, as opposed to having damn carrier pigeons come through and you gotta grab the joint and pull a joint off the leg and start reading it and then send some back. Might even give us some food or something. It's a whole different world. Now we have instant. Now y'all are watching me on the other sides of the world. Now you watching me in DC down the street. Now you watching me in Illinois. Go get it. Where we at?
All right, I ain't gonna get business with it. I'm just gonna say, at the beginning of COVID, I said it was proven, and I was right. We are no longer bound by physical location for things other than unless you need to smell something or touch somebody. But every bit of information that you need, because you can see me, because you can hear me, because we can exchange in these wormholes of sports and technology, we have transcended as a species to where physical location is no longer a relevant factor in whether or not we can exchange energy in this way.
Come on now.
What's the excuse? What's the excuse? What's the excuse?
Huh? Ain't no excuse. Unless you just don't want to do it, you might as well say that from the beginning, damn it. Come on now, ain't nobody got time for that. We out here making it happen. I did like you brought back up transcendence. I like you brought that back up because we were talking before about the body, and we say that we are the body, or damn it, the camera went off, but if you could still hear me, thumbs up, let me know you can hear me. Bet. Okay. I'm gonna turn this off so it can cool off, and I can turn it back on in a second, because we almost done. We almost up out of here.
They don't want us to get the knowledge.
I'm trying to tell you, they don't like that shit. But here it is, it's happening anyway. Okay, I like you said the transcending part, because a lot of times we do need that transcendence, but we do need to, again, realize what we're identifying with. Have we had those experiences so we can realize I am not my body, even though I feel the body? Have we had those experiences, the separation between the mind and consciousness, your inner voice that you choose? That is different from just the mind talking and playing its reel and replaying all of the things that it has accumulated from the past. You saying something on that inner world, choosing what you say, is that is not the mind. That is your spirit. And that is the vibration, the voice that speaks without a mouth, the ears that hear without ears, and the eyes that see without eyes. So, where are we at? There are reasons why the mind itself is the disease. So, what to do? If you are going to treat the mind, there are easy ways. Psychoanalysis is easy. It may take a long time, it may not succeed, but still, it is not difficult. But the transcendence of the mind is difficult, arduous, because you have to leave the mind completely. You have to take wings and go beyond and leave the mind as it is. Do not touch it. All those issues, all those things that come up, all those sifts that start speaking back to you, don't touch it. Just like in that sift meditation, allow it to be, observe it, understand its reactions, how your body adjusts, because you are not your body. we have that experience because we come to class tomorrow night at Ashtanga-led half primary at 6 p.m. and we growing and flowing, right? So we had that experience that we are not our body. We had that experience we're not our mind because we're doing this practice. Oh my gosh, is that both of them? We have that experience that we're not our emotions. What? So we could have that transcendence to go beyond the mind. Let's see. Hey, I think we did it. Hey, yeah, we did it. Hey, that's all. That's all we going today. That's all we going to. That was a little bit more than I was thinking, but I'm glad y'all was vibing with me. We might have some more techniques next week, but I'm gonna ask everyone, if you have not voted for the book that you would like to read next, we have Flow. Oh snap, I should turn back on the Facebook group so y'all can jump in this thing. All right, hold up. Camera on. All right, sit down. Whoosh, camera turns on. Ha. Okay. So we have boom, 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 boom. Close. So we have flow, that cheetah state, that state of optimal experience. We'll call that 1. You can type a 1 in the cheesy if you are interested in that flow state. When we were talking about cheetahs, we were talking about the 4 dimensions of the mind. We might be able to go a little bit deeper in it, but we can also go deeper in those and these as well. But this is a little bit more of a tie. That's 1. Drop a 1 in the cheesy if you with it, if you haven't voted before. We have Eastern Body, Western Mind, which talks about the chakras, how we went through Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, the different chakras correlated to the different aspects, the psycho-emotional aspects of our being. That's this book. We wouldn't read the whole thing, we'd read the excerpts. I got a whole bunch of shit underlined, highlighted, and ostracized, and all that other shit. Last but not least, the one that's in the lead, we have the Divine Matrix. The Divine Matrix is in the lead. Law of vibration, law of attraction. They got some quantum experiments in here that were done. Yeah, I highly recommend y'all vote. Drop something in the cheesy. Let me know what you need. Let me know where you at. Outside of that, I'd like to thank Born to Fly Fitness, where fitness is fashion and mental health is wealth. I'd like to thank No Commercials International. I'd like to thank Dolly Dearest, Dolly's Little Shop of Horrors, Suka Center, Buddha of Blessing. You see, it's just a whole bunch of us out here just growing and vibing, right? UE, Urban Yogic Wellness and Education. Any questions, comments, want to work on something, want to dive a little bit deeper into any of these concepts, anything that hit you and you were like, damn, I really wanted to vibe a little bit more about that, send a DM, send an email, send one of them shits. Let's vibe. Let's make it happen. Next time, we're going to talk a little bit more about, next time, we're probably going to jump out of the book and jump in to the elements. Vata, earth, fire, air, water, ether, and we'll also talk about the doshas, which are 3 basic energies that go through all levels. You can see it in physical matter, you can see it in personality, stuff like that. Ways for the mind to bridge the gap between material and spiritual world. The doshas are helpful for that, and the elements are too. We can see them and perceive them a little bit easier. So we're going to go through that. We might talk about the koshas. But we already did the chakras. We good on the chakras. But we might hit we gonna hit the elements and the koshas, because they vibe with it too. So we're gonna tie those 2 together. So again, any questions, comments, want to work on anything, want to grow a little bit deeper, let me know. I appreciate y'all vibing with me. Again, this is Monday night. Monday night, we do it every single time. Monday at 6, Floating Yogis Book Club. Tuesday, we have Ashtanga-led primary. That is virtual. You can get it in wherever you at. Just like Tony was saying, you could be on on the other side of the world, 6 p.m. Eastern, I got you. Just hop on that thing, let's grow. That would be helping to build your own practice, and we expand from there. Then there is Thursday, where we'll take some of these concepts that we were just reading today and then implement them into a seated meditation. Saturday is Float and Flow, where we're going to get some shenanigans in, a little bit faster paced class. It's still all levels, but I take out some of the stops. We gunning it. Mm-hmm. Sunday is elevated yoga, elevated sift and flow, and that's here for you. We growing here. We take some of these concepts. It's church. It's Sunday. We just get it in. But like the good, if you don't like church, then it's the good church. If you do like church, then it's church, right? We on the vibe with that. Lastly, G teaches Wednesday at 7 a.m. You can flow with her, grow with her, and also Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Here in UE in person. So take your pick. See what rock with you, and let's grow together. Peace and love, kings, queens, and guys.
Good stuff, man.
Woo! Hoo-yah! Yeah, y'all was quiet.